Hey, Planeswalkers, Mythras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Today, I got a fun, interesting top deck for you here. This one comes from the 6+0 wins in a row and is a historic deck. So one that I've been looking to cover, and I think I found a good list for you to do so. Additionally, I believe it runs around 60% plus in terms of the win rate. So I think it's a good one for us to absolutely check out. Now, before we go ahead and do that and take a look, as always, I just want to say thank you, Planeswalkers. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you like the video, please like it. You can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. And don't forget, you can stay in touch on my mythic journey and my journey in general by checking out my Untapped profile down below. All right, Planeswalkers, what do we got going on here? Well, my friends, we have a Gruul Aggro list, so I'm super pumped about this. So with the last kind of banning update, they allowed, I believe, our good friend Burning Tree Emissary to come back here. So super stoked about this. Very fun deck to play. Obviously, we know Standard is heavily played by Gruul, so let's go ahead and obviously take a look at some of the differences here in Historic. But for those of you that are new or returning, as always, in terms of the naming convention here, we have Gruul, which hails from the red and green color schema. So that's forests and mountains to give us the Gruul clan. Additionally, it is an aggro deck because most of the stuff is under 3 that deals a lot of the damage. We do get some ramp here with Landlower. Additionally, we know that Questing Beast is a very fast, powerful hitter, but we'll go ahead and talk about some of these other cards here in a minute. Now, additionally, for those of you that love to get access to this deck list, it is available for you down below in the description, so you will have it right there. Additionally, there are links to the deck list, so if you choose to go that route instead of copy and paste down below, you'll have access to it. And then the objective of this deck is to essentially burn down your opponents as fast as possible with your creatures and what I call a need for speed. This deck is absolutely capable of a turn 4 kill for sure, maybe even a turn 3. So we'll see if we can make that happen. For sure it's a turn 4, but I will tell you, if you can get all of these guys down on turn 2, you can probably be very close to a turn 3. And oddly enough, in another match, I've actually had all 4 in my opening hand and been able to drop it. It was absolutely crazy. So I should have took a screenshot or something, but it was like getting a royal flush, I swear. So anyway, Planeswalkers, enough of that said. Let's go ahead and walk through the deck list here. We'll talk about the main board, we'll talk about the sideboard, we'll talk about how to sideboard, and then we're going to go play some competitive Magic here for you today because, hey, why not get some examples in too? So here's what we got going on. We'll come back to these in a minute for you. If you do have questions or comments, please let me know down below. I'm always happy to help. I really am. And what do we got for lands? We got 15, so extremely aggressive, but we do have ramp. We do have 5 pain lands as well. I'm calling them pain, but they're really modal lands, but these are really pain lands here. But you can absolutely leverage those as well, which is very important. So a couple of things here. So let's go ahead and talk about what we got going on. So first off, we got Landlower Elves here. So we get some nice ramp. So dropping this turn 1, getting another land, that's going to ramp us into some pretty heavy stuff turn 3, which is very important. Next, we got Pelt Collector. So Pelt Collector is a awesome card here. So not only is it an Elf Warrior, but whenever another creature we control enters the battlefield or dies that has a power greater than Elf Warrior here, we get to add a +1/+1 counter. And then if we get to 3 or more counters, this creature gets trample, which is very important. We got Robber the Rich. So here we have Reach and Haste. Whenever Robber the Rich attacks, if defending player has more cards in their hand, we get to exile that top card of their library during any turn we attack with a rogue. So any rogue, we may cast that card, and we may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. Next, we get Scavenging Ooze. So again, this is one of my favorite cards. You guys know that's the good old Skoos. But here we get a 2/2. We can exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, we can put a +1/+1 counter on Skoos here, and we gain 1 life. Next, we have Burning Tree Emissary. So as I was talking about, this creature's now back in play here for Historic. I believe it was banned for a while. But what Burning Tree does is when it enters, we get to add 2 mana. So you just keep doing this and this and this. So like I said, if you can drop 4 of these, it's pretty impressive. You know, 2's pretty, I've seen 2 happen quite a bit. Like I said, I got the Royal Flush, got 4 to work once before, but it's pretty impressive, and it makes for a lot of awesome plays relatively quickly. And within this deck here, a lot of great synergies with the cards that we have. Next, we have Gallia of the Endless Dance. So this is a legendary creature. It's a satyr. It has haste. Other satyrs we control get +1/+1 and have haste. The real kicker here, though, for this card is whenever we attack with 3 or more creatures, we may discard a card at random. If we do, then we get to draw 2 cards. So very important in terms of getting through our deck and getting answers when we need them. It adds a lot of value really fast and really early, which can be very beneficial for us, particularly when we're looking for those answers to kind of finish the game off. Next, we got Shatterskull Smashing. So again, jokingly, as I've been saying, the Shock Land, which I know it's not, or Pain Land, which it's not, but it sort of is. It's a modal land. So here we have Shatterskull Smashing, which deals X damage divided as we choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. And if X is 6 or more, we get to double that damage. Again, it's at sorcery speed though. And then as a land, we can either let it enter tapped, or we can pay that 3 life to leverage that as an untapped land. Next, we got Bonecrusher Giant. So again, a very powerful card. Again, stacks well with Burning Tree Emissary. Obviously, any of the 2 stack well, but don't forget that you can use this and get that burn damage in there. This damage can't be prevented this turn, so that is a key. I'm going to give you a nice little pro tip here. Whenever you play the 9 lives decks, essentially they become circular and you can't get the 9 damage through. If you play this, you got to hang on to it. You play it when you know that you have lethal, and you'll win the game. It's one of my favorite ways to take out 9 lives. And we do have one other option for that too here, which is what makes Gruul very nice when you do run up against those decks. Then obviously we have a 4/3 Giant. If it becomes a target of a spell or ability, it deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. We have Kazendu Mammoth. So I did miss a couple of my land counts. I forgot about this one. So you can add another 4 there for this creature, but this creature also has landfall. So it's a modal plus a creature that's got landfall for 2/2. And if we do use this as a land, it will enter tapped. Next, we got Gruul Spellbreaker. So this creature has Riot and Trample. So Riot, for those of you that aren't familiar, it can either enter the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter, or we can give it haste. And as long as it's our turn, Gruul and us have hexproof, which is pretty important. Or Gruul Spellbreaker. Next, one of the other great things about running green is we get access to this card, Coco, or Collected Company, as it is formerly known as. We get a look at the top 6 cards of our library. We can put 2 creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest on our library in any order. So very important, either in the defensive at the end of a turn, to grab a bunch of stuff here, which obviously all of it, besides Questing Beast, is 3 or less. So we get a lot of big beasts here, and things that do stuff with this card, which is very important. Next, we have Questing Beast. So obviously this thing's got a ton to it. Very important though, and we'll talk about that 9 lives deck here in a second, and then a couple of other things that really matter that people forget about often. So not only does this creature have Vigilance, Death Touch, and Haste, it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Additionally, combat damage that would be dealt by creatures we control can't be prevented. So that is the key to the 9 lives deck. It is also the key to a lot of other things. So you always got to keep that in mind, because that one can really hurt you. I know I've been on the receiving end of that a few times, so just keep that in mind. And then lastly, whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls. Then we have Embercleave here, so everyone's probably pretty familiar with this one, but it's important nonetheless. Great closer for us. It's got flash. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature we control, and then when Embercleave enters the battlefield, we get to equip it to a creature, and then equipped creature gets +1/+1, gains double strike, and trample. So perfect finisher. Then we have our last modal land here, or pain land, as I was jokingly saying. But here, again, it can either enter as that land, or we can have the ability at 7 to look at the top 7 cards of our library. We might put a creature card among them on the battlefield. If that converted mana cost 3 or less, enters with 3 additional +1/+1 counters. If that card is mana cost 3 or less. And then put the rest on the bottom of our library in any order. And then last, I do want to talk about some lands here, because it is pretty important. I'm a huge fan of Run 'em Up Runes. So here we can pay life to get 1. We have a regular kind of colorless mana, and then additionally the 4 here in a sacrifice, 2 damage. I cannot stress enough how important this card is and how many times I've gotten within that 2 damage range, and this was enough to kick me over the top. And just today alone, I think I won two games just because of that. So absolutely keep that in mind. It's going to be really, really important. And then obviously, again, we got the modal lands here, Timber Crown Pathway, Crag Crown Pathway, and then the real shock lands here. So with that said, Planeswalkers, this is our main board. Very, very powerful. We're going to take this one into best of 1, as we always do, and then we'll also go into best of 3 with this deck. So let's go ahead and talk about the sideboard here. So first off, we got Red Cap Melee. So where are we going to want to use this? We're going to want to use it in the mirror match against Gruul. We're going to want to use it against Goblins. We're going to want to use it against mono red, either aggro or burn. Anything running red, you're probably going to want to run this, potentially against a rakdos, things like that as well. You're going to want to run against Temur. The Neoform decks, you could absolutely run this against too. So there's a lot of areas that you could play that. So keep that in mind. Additionally, if you don't mind going down, you may want to play this against some of the, you could play it against Jund's Sacrifice as well, so any of the sack decks. But you may want to play it against any of the mid-range decks, Sultai or 4-color. You probably might want to play it against Auras too, because it's going to be really important to take those things out fast, and maybe even mono black gift or mono black aggro. Oops. Next, we got Grafdigger's Cage. So the key with this card is creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. So keep that in mind. I believe it's going to shut down your Coco too, because you're going to be playing from the library. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to play this against any of the sack decks, self-mill decks, those kinds of things, Rakdos, Arcanist, sack, so Jund or Rakdos there too. Other spots that this is really good against is going to be Goblins, also anything running Lurrus, so Lurrus enchantments, lots of places to play Grafdigger's Cage. Next we have Abrade. So Abrade is very powerful here, so it deals 3 damage to target creature or destroys target artifact. I would run this obviously against mono black gift. You're going to run this against the artifact deck. Anything else that's leveraging artifacts that you may want to run, that you may run into, like Karn. I've seen Tron decks, mono green Tron, those kinds of things, mono black, those kinds of things as well. You're going to want to run this. You could run this also against Goblins. You're probably also going to want to run this against Auras. You want to take those creatures off the board, so that's going to be very, very key for you, so keep that in mind. Next, we get Scavenging Ooze, or my friend Scooze, which we talked about already. So where are you going to want to play this? You're going to play it against any of the mill decks, or at least definitely self-mills, or sack decks. So Jund sack, Rakdos sack. I run against Rakdos Arcanist. Anything that you would play Grafdiggers against 2-, things like Goblins and that kind of stuff, you're probably not necessarily going to want to run Scooze. So those are a lot of good spots for you in terms of where you're going to want to play those things. And then lastly here, we got Garruk's, well, two more here. We got Garruk's Harbinger. And actually two other spots you may want to play these is against Elves decks, mono green Elves. Garruk's Harbinger, you're going to want to play this against things that have direct damage that run black. So, some good control decks there, that's going to be important. Rakdos, Arcanist, that one could work against them too. So if you play that, Rogues for sure. So I didn't talk a lot about Rogues. You might want to run Red Cap Melee and a Braid against Rogues too. Garruk's Harbinger is a good one there. Mono Black Gift, that might be a good one. Sacrifice decks as well, that might be a good one for you. So lots of good spots for that. Anything that's pretty much essentially running black, so Mono Black Aggro, those kinds of things. Lastly here we have Reclamation Sage. So Reclamation Sage here is a very, very powerful 3-drop. We get to destroy target artifact or enchantment, so that can do a lot for us. So any opponent that's running those artifacts, again, Mono Black Gift, the pure artifact decks that we mentioned, you're going to run this. Additionally, anything that does run enchantments, so this could be, that 9 lives deck that I was talking about. I have seen some Esper kind of Doom decks a little bit. That could be a consideration. They do tend to be slow. Some of the crossovers tend to be slow for Historic, but that could always be a consideration. Azor's Control might be one, because that does tend to run more of that enchantment control. Additionally, you may run into that against players that are playing white, that may be running control decks against you. So another good spot could be not only mono Azorus auras, but mono white auras for sure, and then also even mono white at times, again, like I said, with some of those control spots. So that's a good way to look at these cards. In terms of sideboarding here, I think that's pretty important. And then again, overall win rate for this kind of archetype is roughly around 60%. So very, very important. So next, let's go ahead here and let's talk a little bit about how we would sideboard. I'm going to break it in. It can be a little bit more unique in Historic, but I still want to focus on kind of the aggro, the mid-range, and the late game decks, because if you do, it's important to kind of consider as we do talk about some of the sideboard here. So we'll try and go with that. So aggro, you're really going to hit things like Rogues. You're going to hit things like mono red. You're going to hit a mirror match. You're going to hit goblins. So, there's kind of two considerations. Again, having the direct damage, and even some of the aura ones, having the direct damage to take the right threats off the board when you need to. So absolutely what I would do is I would run melee and a braid for those direct damage pieces. And then obviously anything running graveyard, you're going to want to get graph diggers in there. So a good healthy blend, let's go like 5 to 7 things that we may want to take care of. Where I would kind of go, to be honest, is I like staying low. If you don't need to really worry about graveyard, you may want to pull out Scavenging Ooze. That could be a good spot. I would keep these here because they're going to be very situational for you and very powerful. The other spots that you could consider, so we already have some direct damage here, which is pretty important, and our turn 3 slot's going to be really important. I would like to keep the 2 questing beasts in here, but that's always not a bad option, because then you're still going to get the full power of Coco here for everything else. So if you did that, that's 4. The other spot that you may want to look to cut is Khazad-dû Mammoth, and the only reason why I would do that is because this needs to be a very explosive deck. Everything here in these two allow you to like hurt yourself, so that you can still do damage on your turn. You don't want to be super slow, in my opinion. So that is kind of the consideration that I would make and look to cut in those spots. Next, so that should give you enough options, 2, 4, 8 potentially, if you did go around that realm. So that should give you some ideas there. Additionally, then when we get to mid-range, probably going to have some enchantment stuff in there, potentially, maybe some creatures, maybe a graph diggers here or there, maybe a Scooge you're going to need, or a Garruk's Harbinger. So again, focus. If it's not graveyard, Skoos is the spot they're going to want to slip out. If they are more mid-range, I'd probably keep Questing Beast. What you could do is you could cut on the Pelt Collector, 1 or 2 there. I like Landlore Elves again to get that advantage in some of the speed. So that could be a spot for you too, kind of going from the aggro to match the mid-range a little bit. And that would be a good consideration. Again, Khazad-dû Mammoth maybe would be where I'd cut. So here we got a lot of good spots that we can kind of sort through that. So that's another good 2, 4, 8 if you wanted to go down that path or mix that up. And then additionally, you could always go lighter on some of these other things here as well. Next, when we talk about endgame or late game, we don't really, that's here, the goal is to not get there. So that is really the key to this deck. Most likely the only things, in my opinion, that you'll probably board in is probably a Braid. In terms of taking out artifacts, if that is an issue, you may do Garruk's Harbinger for the protection from black. You may do Reclamation Sage. Personally, where I would look to again is similar spot, Khazad-dû Mammoth, potentially, and then maybe even Questing Beast to keep things further up. If not, you can always drop the Pelt Collector. Again, I would keep Landlore Elves just to kind of keep things on pace. But that's just kind of my point of view. And additionally, if you do cut Khazad-dû Mammoth, you're going to want the Landlore in there for the additional kind of ramp option and just the additional mana option in general. Whew. All right, Planeswalkers, big breath, lots of stuff to talk about. Historic is a very, very broad and very, very competitive meta, so good to know all those different options when we talk through these things. We're gonna go hop into our historic matches here, so very, very excited and looking forward to playing this deck here for you today. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our historic ranked. I've got to make sure I don't screw up there. Absolutely go check out the UW Auras 1 or Azores Auras deck, one of my favorite decks. I did play that for Arena Open, I believe. And I think I played the Rakdos Arcanist one. You guys can check that out too for the MQ. All right, so here we go. Historic Gruul, historic ranked, best of 1. All right, Planeswalkers, we are off in our best of 1. Super excited about this. Now, quickly here, as always, before we get started, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you liked the video, please like it. You can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. All right, let's see what we got going on here. I am playing in Diamond Tier 2, so it might be taking a while just because it is the newer part of the season here, but we'll go ahead and see. And we'll see if we can do some smashing here with this Gruul. Oof, long queue, long queue. Uh-oh. Do we let it go? There we go. Minute. Wonder if they downranked us. Oh, no. Hosu 562. Alright, so we got a few things here. We'll keep this. Get this on the board first. There you go. Ah, good thing we waited on Landlord there. them hit. They obviously got something. Yeah. If we had lethal, would that get us there? No, there you go. Unfortunately, not able to pull through there in our best of 1 match off the bat. Ooh, falling on a diamond tier 2. Rough. Super, super rough. All right, let's go on to our next match and see how this goes here. Super aggressive in best of 1, as always. Just did not align on our 1-drops. Mana base not so good on that first match there. And if we were on the play, maybe it would have been a little bit different, but still very challenging. We didn't hit any of our any answers that we needed. Okay, so we got a turn 2. We'll keep this. Let's see how it goes from here. All right, so we got a black swamp here off the bat. I'm actually going to take that first. Alright, so we got a rakdos variant. Now I'm keeping Scavenging Ooze back. I'm probably going to pull Skoos. Oh, there you go. So if they don't kill anything off the board here, if we can get Cleave in, we'll be in a good spot, but we'll see. So we need a land now. right. Now we got good old Scoos. Boom. Ooh. Big comeback for us there. All right, back into Diamond Tier 2. Splitting best of one. We lost to a mono red aggro deck. We beat a Rakdos Arcanist deck. Now we're going to go into our best of 3 and roll the dice and see what we got, my friends. Again, there's the UW Auras deck for you if you guys want to check that one out. But we are playing our Historic Gruul deck today. All right, on to our best of 3, my friends. As always, I just want to say thank you. Appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you like the video, please like it. You can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch as well to stay up to date on content like this. And feel free to check out my journey down below as well on my Untapped profile and kind of follow how we're doing. Gives you guys access to kind of real-time data. Additionally, some of the win percentages, the decks I'm playing, and those things as well. All right, maybe we'll be lucky, and it won't take us a minute. We'll see. There we go. 37 seconds. Padua. All right, so really downranked here. So we'll see how this goes. This time we got lands. I'll keep it. Blue, black it is, huh? So that's good. I'm actually going to go haste here. We can hit him with Shatter Skull Smashing, which is exactly what we're going to do. So right now, if we drop Gruul, there we go, we got it. We can go haste. And kick into first gear there. All right, so we're probably going to want to throw in Grux Harbinger. We didn't see a lot of their deck, which always makes me nervous, you guys. So let's drop questing. I'm gonna add the Grux. I'm gonna add the other scoozes. I'll keep pelts for now. I'm gonna drop 2 of these. We need him to block flyers. I'm debating on that still. Let's go 2 pelts. Alright, we'll go with that and see how it goes. Again, we didn't see a lot of the dimmer deck, so we'll see. It's definitely a control deck, though. We didn't run into any counters, though. Uh-oh, we got 1. We're going to have to mulligan here. It's a bad start. A little bit better, not much better. We'll go keep 6. I think I keep the cleave. We don't keep the cleave, actually. Well, we got it anyway. Ah, there we go. It's a mill deck. Nice. Need some lands. Oh, all the lands.
You wish you had a fraction of my power. Sorry for your loss.
So as long as they don't strap the land lower, I'll take it. It's the -7. Ooh, there we go. I will take that. Opponent discards a card, return target creature or planeswalker from a graveyard on the battlefield under your control. Ooh.
I was bored anyway. death is an opportunity to increase my influence. Oh, you can scream if it hurts too much.
I need to keep him for the Grux, unfortunately.
Well, that was a waste.
So we'll do Burning Tree. So I can get 2 on, maybe, yeah, 2. How close are we on half now? Oof. So what do we have? We can go this. That should hopefully, as long as they don't drop a board wipe, we should be okay. Oh, no. That is gonna hurt us big time. That might give them the game.
Smelly, but effective.
Alright, we're going to the next one. We can't. There's no way we're coming back from that. Not without anything in our hand. Okay. So, creatures in graveyards. We could play that. 6 is still a lot on their end. Reclamation Sage. We could add. So we can go 2 there. I'll drop Bone Crusher. And... Landlord just did not cut it for us. I might drop 1 Scavenging Ooze. We go 2. Go faster there. Well, we can go back into questing. We just did not hit what we needed well. We'll go there. Alright, let's try that this time. There we go. Just give me another land. Give me a Give me a mountain. Ooh. There we go. There we go. If we get a land, they don't kill anything. We're actually close to lethal here. Yeah, bummer. Good news is we'll get a few things here from them. So next turn we have 6. Oof. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, I should just be going right at him. Oh, I cannot believe how much I am struggling here on the mana base, to be honest. It's pretty incredible today. I would expect a counter here, though. Yeah. I'm gonna pitch cleave, too, if I can get it off. Guess I won't be getting it off. Oh, shoot. Now is when I wish I had 10 Bone Crushers. Whew. Did we sneak through is the question. Oh, here we go. What did I tell you guys? Run them up. Run them up. Oh, we did it. We did it. We came back. Oh, what a day. What a day. So, split best of one again. 1-1. And then took down our best of 3 match against a Dimir mill control deck. Pretty interesting deck. So a lot of fun there, Planeswalkers. Let's go ahead and take a look at this list here that we got going on. So again, the Historic Gruul 6+ wins. Obviously, did a nice job here on the sideboard as well. Worked out nicely for us. So let's go ahead and move my face down. If you got questions or comments, please let me know down below. Again, deck list for you down below. Link, or you can copy and paste it. Here's what we got going on. Lastly, Planeswalkers, we had a great day. Very enjoyable. I really do like this deck. Very nice. Kind of, aggro-y, still somewhat mid-rangey, I think, but ultimately played really well. We had a lot of the good mechanics we were able to show, which was really important, which I always enjoy if we can hit that into the best of ones, best of 3 games. Lastly, Planeswalkers, again, as always, I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, like the video if you like it. You can also like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, stay up to date on content like this. Again, questions, please shoot them my way. Happy to help. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of fun. Looking forward to continuing to do some more historic decks for you here over the next couple days before we get to Kaladesh. Stay tuned. We'll see you again soon, Planeswalkers. Take care. Stay safe. Mythras out. Until next time.